This week on RSBANDB Update, we journey to Iaia with the new Yak Track, including the best cosmetic ever, the Hot Spring Soak Rest animation. Twilight of the Gods arrives next week, and we unpack our expectations. Then we discuss the problems with the Slayer skill. This is RSBANDB Update, episode 885, recorded Thursday, June 2nd, 2022. Hot Tub Yak Track. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of RSBANDB Update. Tanis, you're here as you are each and every week. Good to have you with us.
Thank you, Shane. Good to be here this week. I'm glad we got a little something to talk about.
We do, and quite a bit as well. We weren't anticipating to be announcing, talking about the Quest announcement this soon, but lo and behold, here we are, the following Quest announcement. Journey to Iaia Yak Track as well, and also joining us this week to talk about all of this and more is the winner of the RSBANDB Update open panel. A couple weeks back, we asked you guys out there, would you like to come on RSBANDB Update? Would you like to be part of an episode? And I am pleased to present and announce the person who has been selected to do that is here with us this week as well. He's known as Dommy. Welcome aboard.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You told me you were part of something called the Flipper Gang. Would you care to explain to our listeners what the Flipper Gang is, if they're not aware?
I would love to. So the Flipper Gang is basically a collection of people all throughout RuneScape who have come to the realization that the flippers, which are dropped by Mogres, are the height of RuneScape, Fashionscape.
That's hilarious when you think about it, because we've had this game for north of 20 years now, and we have all these weird one-off Fashionscape items that, you know, might seem like the most niche thing that you can find, but lo and behold, you're going to find somebody who rocks that item day in and day out, and if it's an item that you can have multiple of, you're going to find people who collect all those, and I just appreciate the uniqueness that this brings to the game. So you continue doing that, and you are part of the group that makes the game what it is. All right. So should we start with Yak Track? I think let's start with the Yak Track, right? I think that sounds good.
I think we're going to go on a journey. Yeah,
we are. Journey to Iaia. If you want to follow along with us, we have full show notes at update.rsbnb.com. I am Shane12088. Tanis can be found at Tanis79. And Dommy, where can people find you in game if you want to share?
My username is Dommy.
All right.
DOMMIE.
Right on. Sounds good. All right. So Journey to Iaia, the Yak Track that launched this past Monday. It's very much the same format as the previous Path of the Creators Yak Track, in that the secondary task is always now going to be a choice between doing something and then having a skill and kill task. So I think I'm gonna start with what everybody wants to see. I'm gonna start with the rewards from this Yak Track, because I think that any piece of Iaia content would be incomplete without the wonderful hot tub resting animation. We can have that now. And
it's all we've ever wanted, right?
Yeah, and you know, I pushed to get this on day one of the Yak Track, and I've been doing other things in RS since, and I absolutely just love this rest animation, because if I could stop right now with this Yak Track and I couldn't do any more, this is all I'd want from this one. The hot tub resting animation.
You're not doing anymore, right? You just be sitting there from now on.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'll finish it, but I just love how it looks.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's from Task 8 on the premium track. And your character has a whole animation and whatnot with it. There does seem to be some clipping issues if you use it on a ground area that's textured. If you look straight down at it, your legs will disappear in the hot tub and whatnot. It also works really nicely with the environment surrounding it. So if you take it somewhere with a nice skybox and a nice hue, with it. Like, for instance, Mazcab, you'll get a nice reflection off of the material that makes up the hot tub itself. So 100% over the moon with this one. Is there any of the other cosmetics in the Iaia Yak Track here that sticks out to you guys that you're going to be hunting for?
I want to see the I've not seen it yet, the sunshine ability override.
Okay.
Because it's the first one they've done, right?
Yeah, that is the first ability override. I've seen screenshots of that one. Basically, imagine you take your default sunshine ability and apply the night shift color filter to it to just make it more orangish reddish. And that's what you get with that.
Can't wait for that.
Yeah. And I think we should talk about that, because being an ability override, this opens up the potential for more of this in the future.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. This is really, this is really cool. And it's something I didn't see coming. But
more
I
reasons
remember
than one, right?
Yeah, right. But I remember I'm gonna bring up old wounds, but honestly, I remember back when EOC, we were looking at the concepts and the early, animations, and that was one thing that I thought was so cool. It's like, look at these animations, and then, quickly you end up just zooming out and looking over,
and then it gets
like you always do, but
then it gets overridden with visual clutter and whatnot.
Right. So when I saw this, I was like, okay, this is cool, maybe, and I've always wondered if like, is that how people time their stuff? Like, do they watch the animations like that? Or?
No.
Oh,
no.
I just
No. You pay attention to the buff bars. Like, for example, sometimes it's advantageous to cancel your snipe a second early. Same thing with rapid fire. So with that, you'll just pay attention to the buff bar.
Yeah, I remember seeing Flurry for the first time when they did all the trailers and things for EOC, and I remember just thinking how cool it looked. And now, like, I'm imagining with these overrides and stuff, you're going to have people, like, throwing out, like, the crazy dance moves doing Flurry.
And
just crazy stuff like that.
Yeah.
Disco lights come on.
That'd be wonderful. And, on that same vein, the rapid fire animations is precisely why I've always been a fan of ranged, believe it or not. Just seeing the two crossbows fire off like that has always been a fun thing to see.
Gunslinger vibe,
yeah, exactly. There's also some stuff that's, of course, very, very hot fluorescent pink as well, which is perfect for summer, and on that same 80s and 90s vibe we were talking about in pre-show as well. There's a bow and a staff with that. I can see people using that. That'll definitely make you stand out in a crowd.
Yeah, and there's that crazy bongo hammer as well, right?
Oh, where's that? I'm trying to find that. There it is. There it is. In Berthel.
It looks like one.
It's not. You're right. It's not bongos, but
that's what I see. I'm just like, I just imagine making like a nice donk every time you hit something.
Oh yeah, and too bad we don't have sound overrides for that. Oh. Yeah. And this is what I always say with the Yak Track. I always do the Yak Track. First I used to do the Yak Track because it provided a way to play, right? And then came the Christmas one, this past Christmas, where everything was just, is so festively oriented, so wintry, frosty themed and whatnot that I had to do that one just for that. But I'm at a bit of a crossroads right now, and I'm trying to figure out for this one if I'm playing it, or rather completing the Yak Track to have it help me determine what to do in game, or if I'm doing it to get all these cosmetics, because I can see myself using actually a majority of these cosmetics, thinking about it here.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of XP on that as well, between the the bonus XP they're giving you and the actual lamps and things, especially in the higher levels. There's a lot of XP there. And I mean, for me, I've never actually actively done a Yak Track.
Okay.
So for me, the kill and skill in the recent ones has been great because I'm getting the unlocks just from playing, and I probably play enough that I will probably complete it. Otherwise, I might go, for this one, for example, I'd probably go up to like the 15% XP boost, then just not do anymore.
Right.
But because it's skill and kill, I'll more than likely complete it.
Yeah, Tannis, how do you feel? Are you doing this one just passively like last time, or are you gonna hunt out any of the cosmetics on it?
Well, I've always been a big Dragon Rider fan.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. I like that stuff, and I really like Yak Track cosmetics. Like I was thinking,
Like, this is where they shine,
now, but
honestly.
yeah, right. So yeah, no, I will definitely be doing it. Believe it or not, I think this is probably, we'll have to see as I play it, but right now it seems like maybe this will be a better balance, because I've always I'm glad that there's the skill and kill option all the way through.
Yeah.
But last time I didn't do anything else, and I do think there should be just a little something
To kind of push you in that direction of choosing the task instead
right,
of skill and kill. And we'll talk about that in a minute in terms of how that scales up. But
I mean, even if every 5 or 10 milestone you had to do, a specific task or whatever, maybe that would make sense. But
yeah,
just any kind of I mean, right now I think it's what we'll see, but just the added kind of time that Shane's talking about. I mean, I think that's probably a good mix, because I know I finished way, or
right,
probably within a month, just chilling,
Like, I'm wondering if I should even fire up the alt for this one, just because of how these look. I mean, I didn't do the last one on the alt. I did the Christmas one on the alt for that reason, but these cosmetics are kind of speaking to me, I guess.
Dude, the hot tub.
Yeah, the hot tub. The hot tub's
I mean,
the reason. The hot tub's the reason. You're right.
You can have it so you can chill with all your bros.
Yeah.
Wouldn't
it be neat if you could have a group resting animation and all turn up in that?
And it gets bigger. Yeah. It gets bigger with every person, so you just got like a world which is just a hot tub.
I know David asked earlier if we were doing the podcast from a hot tub tonight, and I said, no, we're not doing that. We'll only do that if we have an on-location episode.
Oh, you guys aren't in a hot tub?
No, not right now.
Oh, whoops.
I mean, we could do that. I mean, that's just...
Speak for yourself. I don't have a damn hot tub. I mean, my hot tub's going to be like...
Your bathtub.
My bathtub, yeah.
Just a washing up bowl, just ran the water for a bit beforehand,
Yeah.
All right, let me just run through some of the other cosmetics that you can find here. The first one is the Pawnkeeper's Pole. That unlocks on the free-to-play tier. Ilijankin Traveler's Scroll. Silent, the Bird of Paradise, and this is this bird that I've been focusing on the video version for anybody who's wondering. Ilijankin's Fighter Maul. I don't know which one's the bongo one. Craftmaster's Fletching Knife. Fighter's Cleaver. Ilijankin Traveler's Staff. Ilijankin Fighter's Scimitar. And Chakram as well. And one actually interesting thing about this is that there's actually a bow override at the end of this one as well, which is nice. Because I'm a person who, when I range, I prefer bows if I can use them. And I know on the last Yak Track, I don't think we had a bow override on that, or maybe it was the crossbow override we didn't have. But nonetheless, that's there. And then here's a really interesting one. Task 46, Band of Iaia Transmog Ring. That's a new one. That's a new thing.
Did I hear somewhere that that's one that you can actually walk around with?
I would bet that it is, because they've been doing that a lot with the new transmogs.
Well,
I swear I've heard it somewhere, but I don't remember where.
Yeah, and wasn't it just the last one? Like, that's the first time I'd ever heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the first time I ever heard that you could walk around with one, because that's cool. Like, that's new.
And I'm gonna rip the Band-Aid off for a lot of people on this. Am I the only person who wishes that we'd see more cosmetics like this come in, and then after the Yak Track goes out, they'd make these available for a bundle that you could just purchase outright. The cosmetics.
Well, they're in the Oddman store, right?
Well, there's no guarantee that everything in Yak Track goes to Oddments, and there's no timetable at which it happens.
Oh.
And you can't just purchase, say you need 50k Oddments for something. You can't just purchase a bundle of 50k Oddments to get what you want. You got to do that through the usual thing known as Treasure Hunter.
I guess the difficult thing is if they start adding things from the premium side into that, it kind of devalues the people that, specifically get premium for the Yak Track, or they buy the premium pass or whatever it is you can get.
Yeah, and I mean, this is the same thing that we've talked about so many times before. Let's move RuneScape microtransactions to the premium cosmetics model and just flood the game with those.
People will buy them.
They will.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, especially, if you're familiar with other MMOs out there.
Yep.
I mean, have you ever played some of them that like of the Korean base?
No, I haven't done those.
It's all about you could do what you're talking about though, Shane. It's just the way you would do it is it would need to be a little bit more expensive, like pieced out like that.
Yeah, it would, and in all honesty, that's the part I'm kind of afraid of, in that people are always asking, "Hey, let's have less Treasure Hunter promos and such." Well, what that's going to do if they ever do that is that's going to make everything else they do microtransaction wise, including bonds, more expensive. But that's kind of a topic for a different day, since we're talking about primarily Yak Track right now. So, anything else on the rewards for this one aside from them looking wonderful as usual?
The 20% XP boost, I think, is definitely something to mention.
Yeah, I want to actually highlight where that happens, and they've done it in an interesting way this time. You get your first 5% at task 1, then you get your second 5% at task 18, then you get your third 5% at task 25, so you're up to 15% by task 25, and then you have to go all the way down to task 46 to get the other 5%. The same one where you get the Band of Iaia transmog ring.
Yeah. But what you're failing to connect here, Shane, is we're coming off of a double XP.
Oh, so we're going from 200 to 120 then %.
We're going. You can't go cold turkey, man. We're addicted. We are addicted, my friend. You can't just cut it off. You don't just take heroin away from a heroin addict. You give him some methadone treatment and that kind of thing. So you can't just cut us off. So we got to gradually cut it down. Man.
You think that's what's happening here?
Yeah. Then we get another bonus XP weekend in 2 months, right?
Yeah.
It'll be a month after this finishes at the end of August.
Well, because our tolerance keeps going up, so we need more. So we gotta. That's just how.
And it's not going to take someone long to even get to task 25 to get that 15%.
Yeah, well, I mean, I did it in 3-4 days.
There you go.
Just for that, 'cause, I mean, I've been doing a lot of skilling, so
right.
15% bonus XP is huge.
Yeah. But we should talk about how long this is going to take if you just want to do it through skill and kill, because this was something we talked about last time. Tanis, that's how you did it last time. You needed to skill for 104 hours last time, which rounded out to about 1.86 hours per day last time for the last Yak.
God, when you say it like that, shit.
What?
I think. When do I sleep? 'Cause I
right?
have a family. What the hell? Damn. Okay. Thank God for RuneScape Mobile.
This one, though, is different. We're going up to 170 hours here.
Yeah.
Which is just over 3 hours a day.
Probably not.
That's a lot to average.
I mean, it's a lot to average. I don't think people will have that. I mean, if
My
you were
average-
making the
My average daily
hour,
play session is an hour 20.
right, but like on the weekends, it isn't more. Like, and I'm
I mean,
saying
unless
if,
I'm like farming a skill or a boss or something, no, not really.
right, but if RuneScape's like your only game, you know what I mean? Like,
I mean,
if
I
that's the only
probably
thing you play.
average 4 to 5 hours.
Okay.
So
So that's
I'll
probably the
probably
band.
get there.
So somebody just a hair less than you is probably what they're aiming at then.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like you know, even people that are working full time. If this is the game that they play, you get in, you do all the
And
stuff
I mean,
you got to do,
yeah,
and you've
let's
probably
just-
got 3 hours.
Like, let's just throw that up. Imagine you're working at a desk for 6 hours a day. You're in meetings for 2 of that. I feel like I'm being over generous for RS. So let's just take it down to 5 on that, and maybe you get distracted the other hour. So let's just say 4. You do 4 hours of AFK skilling a day on an iPad. That handles it. But I'm wondering how many people are actually out there in that play model.
I mean, a lot
More
of
than
people
you would
now
think,
working
man.
from home, right? So,
Yeah, more than you would think.
Okay.
2 screens.
Yeah, I was gonna say 2 screens have been a thing for a long time. Shane, remember?
Yeah,
Freak show.
I remember that all too well this week, actually, Tannis.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. For those unaware, we're doing the podcast this week with an arm tied behind my back. I've been working the entire week with 1 monitor. I know that sounds like a very first world problem, but when your productivity relies on 2, it becomes an issue real fast. Just saying. But so just comparing these two, for the first 10 tasks or so, the amount of skill and kill you need is relatively the same for Journey to Iaia and Path of the Creators 2. And then at about task 13, 15-ish or so, that's where things really, really start to pick up and go in a way that sees them diverge across. So I've got a Google spreadsheet here in the notes that people can take a look at, and with that you'll see just exactly how these split apart, and you'll see what the huge gap is on this. So it becomes really apparent, I'd say, post task 30. You start to feel it in the 20s, but definitely post task 30, you're gonna feel that. And I talked to a number of people this week who felt that the problem last time was that there was really no choice, that you were going to do a skill and kill most of the time if you got some annoying task like the rune crafting tasks or the herblore tasks, which are prohibitively expensive at higher levels. But now there was I think it was Zerdones who said in the Discord, "Hey, we fixed that problem. Now we've just made it so that you're going to want to do the task A in that situation if time is more important to you, based on how much time it's going to take, and the fact that that's shot up since then." So I don't know. I honestly don't know how to feel about this. Tannis, you feel it's fine?
I mean,
3 instead of 1.8?
Yeah, I mean, I will have to, see as I play.
Yeah,
it,
you'll have to see where you wind up.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards it being fine, because I think there should be an incentive to follow the Yak Track, like that.
Oh, so you're in that path that feels that that's a way of kind of pushing people in that direction, then.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole purpose of.
Yeah, and I will say that when we got the beta task being consistently skill and kill, I felt like something was taken away from Yak Track when they did that the first time. But Tommy, do you feel it's too much? Or how do you like? I mean, for you, it's obviously not going to be, but
yeah, but I think at the same time. So for me, it's difficult for me to say because I don't know what the general base of players that like. I mean, for me personally, I would never do a Yak Track, but getting it passively is nice. So the skill and kill for me is great. For other people that are in the same boat, 3 hours a day is a lot.
Yeah.
Like to consistently average that over a 2-month period, that is a lot. Which, again, if people are paying specifically for the premium pass or whatever, so they can do the Yak Track, I don't know. It's a lot to ask, but at the same time, it's like Tanis said, that they're trying to incentivize people to do the actual tasks. Which, if people want the rewards, it kind of makes sense that they would go and do that. So I'm kind of split. I mean, I think all in all, it probably is a good thing, because it's either people that aren't that bothered about the rewards might get a few less rewards because they might not play as much or whatever. But if people really want the rewards, they'll go and do the tasks. So I think it worked.
And that's what I was talking with Earth about, because his first Yak Track was that last one, and he did it passively as well. And he said, I didn't even really need to think about doing it because the 1.8 hours was relatively inconsequential. So perhaps that's why it's been increased, is just to make it so that you actively need to choose to do the Yak Track, so to speak, if you want to complete it in that amount of time. I haven't looked to see if there's any new tasks on this one. I know the lore tasks are back for this one, which they weren't there previously, so that's good.
Okay.
Let's see, what do we got here? Do we know if the clue scroll ones are still in here? Because I always like those ones. Yeah, clue scrolls are here, so that's good. I know you don't like clues, Tanis.
I don't do clues.
Yeah. And it looks like so many of them now, and they've been doing this for a few Yak Tracks, and I'll just highlight this again, is that so many of them now are just base XP in a certain skill. The fishing and mining ones are still gather X. The farming one is still gather X. Prayer is still bury X bones and whatnot. So I think I'm a fan of kind of the direction we're going on that and the way we've been going on that. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see where this lands, and hopefully the just over 3 hours isn't too much for everybody in one day. But after you reach tier 8, if you are on the premium track, you do get the hot spring soak resting animation, which, as we talked about, that's the number one thing that people
all you need
wanted that from this Yak Track. So yeah. What was that?
I want to see what people do with the animation. I want to see just how many places in RuneScape can you park that animation and just be ready for the end of whatever world you're on, because all of them have been destroyed at some part or another. Just I want to people together like
wilderness.
Hey. Would it work? Because overrides don't work in the wilderness, right? I don't know whether
it's just a rest animation.
So it does.
I'm pretty sure it does.
Oh, yeah, that'd be cool. Either that or World 84 at Portables.
Oh, that'd be a fun one. That'd be a fun one. I know I was at Raids earlier. It just looked absolutely hilarious seeing the hot tub sitting next to the Yakka pool, just waiting for that to spawn. I don't know. Like I said, and perhaps this is a bit of bias showing, is that if it were just to end at that, I'd be perfectly fine with that. But that's just me. So that's the journey to Iaia Yak Track. Anything else on that before we go? No. Okay. Twilight of the Gods, a quest next week. The questing panel will be here. Questscaping and Earth are already booked for this. Obviously Earth, because he is a Zamorak fan and made those waves with Het's Oasis, Questscaping, Clan Quester, and Resident Quest Lorehound will be here for this one. But this is the follow-up after the end of Extinction. I guess this is the second update, Tanis, that Extinction would be required for, that they mentioned.
Oh, this Well, I thought this is the quest for the boss, right?
This is the quest leading up to the boss. The boss comes next month.
Right. Okay. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks to you and Thaxi, I will be able to do this quest. Now, if I want to do this quest, that might be a different story. But
why? Why wouldn't you want to do it? It's the next big chunk of Zamorak lore.
Zamorak's hurt me, Shane. He's hurt me in the past.
Oh, what did he do?
Well, he did that heist quest, and I was never the same after that.
Right. Zamorak's heist, or Dishonor Among Thieves, as it was actually called. Yeah. In any case, they are saying that Twilight of the Gods is the perfect quest for lorehounds, taking you to the ruins of a post-war Santistan and down into the depths of the Asylum to ally with some familiar demons. You'll work with Sarah Doman to investigate Zamorak's activities and visit locations all over Gielinor. Plus, you'll have to infiltrate the Dungeon of Disorder disguised as a Zamorakian cultist, of course, as we know. The Dungeon of Disorder comes from the archaeology dig site there. So there's that. Now, requirements on this one. 80 divination, 60 thieving, and on the quest side, extinction and broken home. Broken home.
Weird.
Is that the replayable one?
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I hated that quest so much.
Janice, have you done your 37-minute run?
No.
Oh. Have you completed the quest?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
But it wasn't. No.
No. Okay.
And it was like it was supposed to be like an active kind of walkthrough, and not possible for me.
You also need to have completed the Eyes in Their Stars mystery and have met Nerissa in Santistan. And they say this quest, Twilight of the Gods, is essential for taking on Zamorak. And with this, we also got the release date for Elite Dungeon 4. The Zamorak boss battle will launch the following month on July 4th. So it's American Independence Day.
I was going to say fireworks.
Fireworks there will be. There will also be fireworks in Elite Dungeon 4 on Independence Day.
Is he the boss of Elite Dungeon 4?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Rewards.
Dude, what? Oh, man.
Rewards for this are the cosmetic cultist robes, the Abyssal Demon Transmog ring. We'll have to wait and see if we can walk around with that one.
Yeah, that's cool.
5 bonuses to help you fight Zamorak, including 5 loot reroll tokens, the ability to gain loot reroll tokens as drops from Elder God Wars bosses, and a 10% damage reduction in the Elite Dungeon and fight with Zamorak, as well as 30,000 magic and divination XP.
Do we know with those loot reroll tokens, it doesn't specify what they're for, right?
No, it doesn't.
Is it just for the God Wars Dungeon 4, or is it?
Oh, sorry, yeah.
God Wars, or is it for everything?
I would assume they're just for Elite Dungeon 4.
Oh, it does say in the fight for Zamorak, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think this is probably going to, the quest will probably end with the conclusion of where you'll want to just run into the dungeon and start fighting things at that point. So, I think it's going to be a really interesting quest. Do either of you guys have any thoughts on this about where it's going to go?
Well, I have a bit of a confession to make.
Okay.
So, I feel really bad. So, I'm a bit of a spacebar warrior when it comes to quests, in that I'll start a quest and basically from starting the quest to ending the quest, I just hold down the spacebar. That's just how it goes. I recently listened to the podcast you guys did with, I can't remember her name, but it was one of the J-mods that worked on Extinction. Was it Mod Shrike, maybe?
Yeah, Shrike.
Yes, and she'd worked on Extinction.
Yep.
And just listening to her talk about, everything that went into it and all of that, I felt really bad that I just, completely bypassed all of that. So I guess for this one, I should probably actually listen to it properly. So I'll say it now, I'll go through, I'll do the quest properly. It was interesting, actually. I think I heard you talking in that particular episode about, the best way to go through quests nowadays is all in order. And it would actually be really interesting to create an account to do that, because I feel like I've missed out on a lot now. Because I know nothing about the lore in this game, pretty much. I've done all the quests, but it has just been, have a guide open on one screen, hold down spacebar. That's that's how much I know from quests.
Well, if you hang around these parts, that'll probably change over time. We're big on the lore side, and we like to make it accessible to everyone.
That's why I felt so bad listening to her talk about it. It's like I have no idea what she's talking about.
There's also a wonderful YouTube channel made by one of the guys who's been on the podcast before, the Book of RS, otherwise known as Dwarven Yak. He's got a series of videos. He was nominated for a Golden Gnome last year, and there's a series of videos that goes through all of RuneScape's lore from the first stage through the 6th stage to where we are now.
Oh, wow. So I need to just watch that.
Yeah. And they're like feature presentations and such. I think the third age one, in terms of both videos, when you put them together, is like 90 minutes long. So
wow.
It's something that you're going to want to basically sit down for one night, watch an episode, and just relax and take it all in. With that. Yeah. Really good production value on that. So
that sounds good.
That's where I always point people to on that, because I don't think there's anything else that's ever been done like that goes into such deep knowledge on that. So
and the problem with making an account to play through them all is it's not just the time that it takes to play through them all, read all the text, which is forever, right?
Yeah.
But it's also getting the stats. You got to pay for another account, all these different things, and it's just a huge time investment.
Absolutely.
Whereas if I can just sit down and watch, 10 hours worth of video or whatever, that's,
Well,
I'll do that.
And don't feel bad, Dami. I mean,
Janice has been in that situation before he was here too, because of the game not being readable.
Well, because it's not voiced, and everything is voiced. It's at least voiced over nowadays, but I used to prefer to get the lore that way, just so that I could listen to it. I get a lot more out of it, because it drives me nuts to try to read the dialogue boxes. Now, with Extinction, I actually used I used a couple different devices I have, which made it a little bit better. But like you said, I mean, if you can listen to a video, I don't know. That's what first got me interested. Was
I think for me, quests have always been a means to an end. Back in the early days, it was I'd do a quest because I want to unlock this thing, or it has a particularly good XP reward, or whatever it was. I was never doing a quest to do a quest. And then nowadays it's to keep up completion escape. That's, again, it's the only reason I do quests. There's never been that I really want to know what happens to, so and so or whatever. Whereas it's like you said, if I can sit down and watch some videos on it, I probably will become interested, and it'll make doing quests on release day less of a chore and more of like a, oh, this is cool, this is what's happening now. So
there is somebody who takes the ultimate stance on that, who is actually a member of Clan Quest now and has his Master Quest cape. On April Fool's Day 2 years ago, we got a new recruit in Clan Quest, and the person's name was Quests Are Shit. And he initially joined Clan Quest as a joke. He later proceeded to get his quest cape, start to like the lore, and a couple months back he got his Master Quest cape.
Wow.
That's
you
just
convert all these people, yeah.
Exactly. We convert all the people either through the podcast or just randomly being invited into Clan Quest's chat. I think what happened with that, and we'll have to ask Earth about this, is that we were doing it was archaeology launch and such, and there's a good amount of people in Caradat, and I think Quester Shit was there and saw the clan picture being taken and took an interest in what was happening, joined the channel, and then following from that a couple days later joined Clan Quest. So yeah, there's multiple ways to get into the lore, whether it's a video or playing through a quest or just running up against a questing clan doing something otherwise in game. So,
well, if you
lols, Shane, it started for the lols.
Oh yeah, we had to ask Earth if this was indeed a joke when he posted the paperwork. Someone that he recruited someone named Quester Shit.
Oh, it's great.
Because that is such an Earth thing to do, as we know.
Uh-huh.
Anyways, I find it interesting. I want to just say one more thing on this. I find it interesting that we got 2 main cosmetics here from this quest. They're going heavily on the cosmetic side, both in the Abyssal Demon Transmog and the Cultist Robes outfit.
Yeah.
What are the Cultist Robes? Do we know what they actually look like? Or
I don't know. And part of me doesn't want to Google this for what might come up. But it could be the new Varrock Cultist. No, that might be a little bit older. I don't know. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. It could be.
If you look in the post on the website, the top picture, it's got kind of like some dude stood next to an altar. They have some like robes on, but they're pretty plain. So I don't know.
It almost looks like one from one of the Yak Tracks. Maybe that's it. Yeah, that could be it. Because they're all wearing that same kind of robe, so that must be it. Okay.
Unless this is like a special higher-up person robe.
Maybe. Maybe. But in any case, we will be gathering next week for one of our RSBANDB Updates Legendary Quest Weeks with Questscaping and Earth joining us to talk about Twilight of the Gods. And with that, I'm going to thank some Patreon supporters because this week, Sirion and I gathered and we did the monthly bit on RNG. This was a monthly bit that the Patreon supporters voted for overwhelmingly. North of 70% of the vote went to this one, and I said to Sirion before, hey, could you have ever imagined that people who pay to listen to the podcast, the extra bonus shows, would pay to listen to hear you talk about math? So, it was a fun show. It's up right now on the Patreon feed at patreon.com/RSBANDB. But if this sounds interesting to you, you can join a bunch of other people, including Alaska, Anatoly D, Andrew C, Arounds, Arvidsel, Big Huge Rat, Bryflex, Kristen S, Chunk the Monk, Diana, Drama Free, L.O. Matey, Flazaman, Free Milk, Guy LaFleur, Jade Gizmo, Jason S, Jeebus, Jesse W, Jim M, Ling01, Malinork, Mohan V, Nate the Great, Nick G, OTR Gamer, Patty the Architect, Parnassius, Renhawk, Ricky A, Rippeth, Samuel FL, Skiotan, Scott DS, Seth W, Stub Eve, Tanner JW, The Naked Captain, Tim A, Tom V, and Zant. Thank you, everybody, for your support. It truly means the world to us. And I'll just say again that for as little as $1 a month, you gain access to the entire back catalog of monthly bits, including the episode on RNG, including the episode on Legacy Combat, which blew Tanis's mind. How are you doing from that a month later?
I'm thinking about investing in some good magic gear.
Yeah. We also, of course, have other ones like the Dailyscape tier list that we started the year off with, a bit of a list to show just what dailies you might want to do this year to passively fund things in RS, and that was once again a learning experience for everybody. So that sounds like your cup of tea. For as little as $1 a month, you gain access to all of those back cataloged episodes. But we also do have a VIP tier where you'll get a special rank on our Discord and a chat channel and high-quality stereo versions of the show for $3 a month. And if you want to give the ultimate gift, you'll receive a shout-out on the podcast each and every week and gain exclusive access to the outtakes that we use to make the clip show at the end of the year, in addition to everything else. And we are just under halfway there to that Hot Ones challenge. I should have mentioned that last week, Tanis, is that we're teetering on the brink of half with that, and we might have to add some other kind of dare or challenge for us there at an intermediate step, just so that, you know, I don't want us to necessarily subject ourselves to that, but just to give a little bit of encouragement that we head on our way with that, because I know you're absolutely looking forward to that.
You know, but on the other hand, it's wings.
Yeah.
And I love me some chicken wings.
Even if they're very hot?
I think I got to put it out of my mind.
What if you, and this is the thing, I'm not going to ask anybody to do this, but I imagine there's somebody out there with a large enough esophagus that they could just swallow it, right?
I mean, I hope if it's a boneless wing, I mean, I don't encourage people to swallow.
Yeah, we shouldn't be encouraging people to do that.
What are you, a lizard person, Shane?
I was this week on RS, but more on that later.
What I would love to see is if you guys are doing the hot sauce, right, is immediately after taking the hot sauce, karaoke.
Ooh.
Oh boy.
That's what I need to hear. That's what I need to hear. Somebody doing like Total Eclipse of the Heart just after they've taken some hot sauce.
We would need a live on location episode for that one, honestly.
Oh man, Shane, we'd have to do we can do that one for Dommy and we can do a duet.
Yeah.
Islands in the Stream. Come on, man. There you go. There's the next track.
Oh, no.
There's the halfway step. Me and Shane will sing a duet of Islands in the Stream.
I don't even know what that is.
Dolly Parton and Kenny Rogers. Oh my god. Yeah.
Well, patreon.com/RSBANB. And if anybody ever has feedback on what should be on there, send it in. Thank you. And thank you to everybody for your support. But let's move on to the patch notes then for this week. We do have a few of those this week. Starting off, fix an issue where clicking on the Jaws of the Abyss in the Slayer log pointed to the Abyssal Scourge instead. Also, the grace period on To Dream Perchance to Keep. The post-quest achievement for Extinction has been amended so that it actually finishes correctly on July 4th. I wonder if it was going to grace out at the wrong time with that.
Sounds like it, yeah.
Yeah. You guys been keeping that up?
No.
Your trips to Iaia?
I mean, it's Master Quest Cape, right?
It is.
I'm never going to do that. That's okay.
Right.
I'm with letting that one go.
Tanis, have you been back?
Shane.
What?
I work for a living in this game. I'm smithing.
Okay.
Every day.
Okay, fair enough.
It ain't much, but it's honest.
All right. Players who surge to Moya towards the end of Extinction are no longer blocked from continuing the quest. Now here's a good one. Users on all platforms can now toggle the visibility of unavailable spellbook spells consistently. We ran into this one.
Yeah, I was going to say, we saw how important that can be, huh?
Yeah, we were exactly trying to figure out where Tanis' spellbook was, because we were looking for one of the ancient spells to keep you alive when we were doing helping you with the extinction at the end there. And we were trying to figure out where the spellbook was, but apparently if you toggled this off, you were unable to see spells that you didn't have the runes in your inventory or rune pouch for. and you weren't able to toggle it back even if you clicked the button properly. So that's good. That's been fixed, because that was a bit of a weird one to figure out. We didn't realize what was happening until we said, "Hey, just go get some runes and see what happens when you take a bunch of runes of everything out," and then everything started to appear as you expected it. So
now the button does something.
Yeah, the button makes the spells appear as they're supposed to.
Yeah, I'm like, no, seriously. I know I can't see, but it's not here. It's really not here. I promise. Let me show you.
Yeah, it did take a while to figure out, but it's done. The player can no longer activate an unowned hairstyle by previewing it and activating a different owned hairstyle through the options menu. That's a weird one. And new accounts stuck on the roof of Berthorpe Castle should now continue to the Berthorpe transition cutscene with no ladder required. And that's the patch notes of the week. Nothing too big or strenuous there. All right. So, I've been dealing with this as a problem with RS since probably the last couple double XPs. And I've had this problem for a long time, Tanis. I was never able to get into Slayer. And it was one of your favorite skills.
Yeah.
And it took me since last November to, in effect, put it into words of what the problem with Slayer was. And what it comes down to, I think, and Domi, feel free to jump in on this. I don't know how you feel about Slayer, but what I feel the problem is that we're dealing with a skill that was built in 2005. Well, before that, it launched in January 2005, so it was built in 2004. But it's the exact same thing. You get a list and go kill. And that's literally all there is to it. The drops really aren't worth that much until you start aggregating them out. There's some bigger ones like the Abyssal Scourge and stuff at the high end. But at the end of the day, people will say, at least I feel people will say, that the knee-jerk reaction to make Slayer better is to just buff the drops and maybe go the way of the mini-bosses like the Wyverns, the Ripper Demons, Mammoths, and Camels.
No one says that. Who says that?
No, I'm saying the knee-jerk reaction could be to buff the drops or go the mini-boss direction. Because I know there are people out there who like their Rippers. Or maybe something like the Abyssal Lords at the very high end of the Sentistan Asylum. But we need to also realize, and I think you've illustrated this as well, and other people have illustrated as well, that Slayer can be lucrative, right? Over time.
Yeah, I mean, more so it used to be. I don't know.
Not as much really now, but it's still decent. It's not a loss.
No. And I mean, Slayer was kind of like Yak Track before we had that concept, only it was for monsters.
Yeah.
You know,
and
that was cool.
And the reason Slayer came out, why they wanted to do Slayer, was because there was the trifecta back in the day of what people would kill leveling up to the point where it would be goblins, hill giants, fire giants, and then shadow warriors. In the Legends Guild, at the end of the day, there was literally probably a half dozen to a dozen NPCs that people killed regularly for combat XP before Slayer came out. And Slayer changed that by bringing out a diverse slate of critters and such. I feel like we've kind of meandered away from what that is, because most of the Slayer creatures that come out now, minus the very high-end ones, really don't have many unique mechanics to them, I don't think. They've been a bit better with that post 120, I think. But it doesn't change the fact that if you were to buff the drops for Slayer, that wouldn't make the skill better, because it doesn't change the fact that it's got a very simple and, in my view, boring core loop, what you do repetitively to level the skill up. I don't think that would fix the core problem.
See, I don't even think it's the repetition that's necessarily bad. So, I mean, RuneScape's a game that, for a lot of things, is based on repetition.
Yeah.
You sit there fire making for 100 hours to get 120, or whatever the number. I don't know what the numbers are. And that's typically fine, because a lot of the time with those kind of things, you're either doing other things or you don't really have to pay attention. The problem with things like Slayer specifically is that it's broken up so much between having to run and get another task, go to a different place, re-gear. You got to do all this different stuff in between, and when there isn't a reward there to supplement that effort that goes into it, and all the different gear that you have to own nowadays, which if you want to go into that, that's a whole different thing. But it's just a lot, and personally, I just can't be bothered. Which maybe that's lazy, I don't know, but it's just a skill that takes a lot of effort. And
for what you get and how engaging it is.
Exactly. Whereas, I mean, there are other skills that can take a lot of effort. For example, I did some recently. I did some rune crafting, doing blood runes in the Abyss, which is it's crazy good money. It's I don't know what it is at the moment. Maybe 25 mil an hour. It's a lot. But it is very click intensive. But it's repetitive in that it's always the same. You run a path and that's how it is. Slayer, you've kind of got this thing where it's broken up. There's maybe, I don't know, 5 tasks you actually want to do, and the rest you just don't because they're awful.
Yep.
And when you get one of those awful tasks, it's just not great. And especially when you're not getting any other incentive to do it, gaining levels or gaining XP or whatever it is, it's just difficult to want to do Slayer. That's kind of where I land with it.
Yeah, and when you highlighted the other skills, that's exactly where I went next in my argument with it in this article. Is that if you look at all the other skills that have come out since then, archaeology, invention, divination, dungeoneering, hunter, summoning, construction, and farming, they all have their niches in what they provide to the game, which all Slayer provides is a list of things for you to kill, and some novel drops along the way. But these skills also all have multiple different methods in which they can be trained. Whereas from day one until today, even with Menaphos and 120 Slayer, coming up on 5 years on that, by the way, it's just been the same thing. Kill, kill, kill.
I think they need to extend Reaper in a way. I don't know how they would do it, but I know, I started an Iron Man, and I remember that for the first maybe 70 Slayer levels, I only did Reaper tasks because it was just so much faster XP wise at that lower level. And I don't want to go kill 30 goblins or whatever.
I mean, I love Reaper more than I love Slayer.
Yeah. So even if they extend it so that, I don't know how you do it, maybe you don't get Reaper points or whatever past your first task of the day or whatever it is, but you get enhanced XP or something, to give you a reason that, because a lot of people, they want to boss rather than slay because you make a lot more money doing PPM
hell,
than you do doing Slayer.
Like, if I could get multiple Reaper tasks a day and get that same 10 to 20k XP drop from it in the Slayer skill, I'd do that instead.
Exactly. Obviously, I wouldn't expect them to give Reaper points for all of those because that would be ridiculous.
Too much.
Just devalue the Hydrix way too much and whatever else. But I feel like they need to do something because it's like you said, it's not changed. Since it came out, all they've done is, added some creatures, which, maybe when they came out, the drops were somewhat useful, but over time, they've just kind of become irrelevant for the most part.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to bring you in on this, Tanis, because I feel like the chance to change this was 120 Slayer. Change the way the skill was trained, like we had with the dinosaur farm and the player-owned farm. How do you feel about Slayer? Because you're very much so a fan of Slayer more than I am. How do you feel about everything I've said so far? And the article.
Well, on a serious note,
yeah,
I like the core loop. The core loop is like something that that's something I like about the skill. Because it doesn't, to me, it doesn't seem repetitive. It doesn't really feel that repetitive for me. Now, on another level, sometimes, Shane, when you've been with a skill for, a long time,
yeah,
it seems real repetitive. It's always the same. Maybe you should see if you can kind of, have another skill, you know, come along. Maybe try some fletching, while you're doing Slayer.
What?
Maybe bring another skill in, make it a little more exciting.
That must look crazy to the monsters. Like you hit them, and then you just like quickly make a bow, and then you hit them, and then you quickly make a bow.
Oh my god! If I wanted to go do that, I'd go do metronome divination.
I mean, I'm just saying, maybe you just need to spice it up,
Yeah, and I did spice it up last month by using legacy mode.
Is that a thing?
Yeah. Listen to our monthly bid from last month.
I'm gonna have to listen to that.
Basically, you can use Blood Burst, Blood Barrage, Ice Burst, Ice Barrage, depending on how much you want to spend on that. Wen Book, Crypt Bloom, not Crypt Bloom, Animate Dead, and any kind of magic tank armor. Even Ganodermic is fine.
Wow.
And things like the Lost Grove creatures, the Nodon Dragonkin, all those big chonky Slayer monsters, they just die immediately with legacy mode.
I mean, that makes it more bearable if I can run around in one set of gear.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Although it does sound kind of expensive with rune prices at the moment.
Yeah, and that's why you'd want to use the bursts instead of the barrage, probably. Yeah. So, and when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, I honestly think if I have to do Slayer again, that's the way I'm doing it. Because everything else leaning into the weaknesses, leaning into the very specific gear, and finding out what the if there's some unique mechanic on a dinosaur or something like that. Sure, that's nice. That's all nice to do and well and good, but I don't know. I just still can't shake the idea that you're just getting a list and you need to go and kill these things. And I think we had a very real chance with 120 Slayer to change this, to change it and make it better. And Tannis, what would you have done to make 120 Slayer different? Would you have changed the method post 99?
Well, I don't know what that method would really look like.
Yeah.
I kind of like the core loop. To me, Slayer reminds me of archaeology in that way.
Really?
Yeah.
But archaeology is so much more nuanced and so much more robust than Slayer, because you can do the entire thing yourself, excavate the artifacts, excavate the materials, sift the soil, and you complete the entire loop yourself. Or you can just excavate the artifacts and buy the materials. Or you can just excavate the materials for a bit and make money. Or if you want to just buy soil on the Grand Exchange, you can use that and then sift it with the lunar spell for a profit. There's just so many different ways to go with archaeology, and that's not even talking about the fact that it's got the lore drops and the collections behind it as well. So
right, but at one time, like Slayer had like the variety of
you're saying it provided the variety and diversity into it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I suppose there is as well. There's another point of view of this, like the point of view for Jagex when they're designing these things. I know a lot of people that would say that Slayer's their favorite skill, or one of their favorite skills, and from their point of view, seeing that, it's kind of, why change it? Why not just add to it? I feel like that's probably what happened.
Yeah,
because I do feel like we're probably in the minority, not liking Slayer or not enjoying Slayer, or at least it feels that way a lot of the time.
Yeah,
and so they probably see that. And I mean, one thing I did really like that they did is the collection logs, because it's just something else that's a reason for me to go and do tasks I don't want to do. Right? Because it's I haven't got the unique drop from that, so at least it's going towards a log or whatever. know, there is that they added to it, which I thought was really good. Again, personally, I'm not keen on the skill, but I can see why a lot of people do like it, and I can see from Jagex's point of view why they might even be worried to change it and just kill a skill that people already enjoy. So
yeah, that's a good point. I'd be interested to see what the numbers on that say internally with that. And in true RSBANDB update monthly bit fashion, I want to provide everybody with a bit of an existential crisis on this. It's a skill that hasn't changed in decades. And with that, there's other parts of the game that haven't changed in decades as well. And you highlighted that key point, that's either very attractive to longtime players, or it's putting off to people who might be bored with the old style of the skill or of any piece of content. And you have to ask yourself, what would somebody new who starts playing RuneScape in 2022 think about this? And take this out one step further. What would somebody who plays a newer game like Dark Souls or Elden Ring that have done the innovation circuit, what would somebody coming from one of those games think about Slayer? How that works?
Low level, it's like, I've got to stand here and click a basilisk and wait, 10 seconds for it to be killed to then click on another one. There's no, you don't really, until post 99 Slate, there is no effort required. It's just click this thing and watch it die. And especially if you're talking about now with legacy mode, you can do crazy stuff, which is effectively that is if there is no difference between killing monsters and doing Slayer, in my opinion, it's not a skill.
Exactly. It's
just a. I don't even know what it is.
You're adding on to what I feel you're saying, and see, through writing this, and I've been wanting to talk about this since November, and I've really not been able to put it out in such a way, and discussing it with you and bringing it forward on this front has added to that. And I asked the same question in Clan Quest as well. And I was expecting to find a chorus of people who love the skill. But at best, I just found people who were indifferent to it. So maybe the skill does need to change. I don't know.
Maybe it's a historic thing that people like to...
It could just be that.
I think it's people that want to do combat. They don't want to swear combat completely off. But you're just not... You can't, for one reason or another, engage in PvM. And it's hard to just decide to just go kill a particular monster. I don't know.
So you're saying Slayer just kind of provides that list for you, so you don't need to do that deciding.
It tells you what to do. Yeah.
It's more like a I don't know. To me, it's something that I'm very familiar with in other games. That would almost even be considered a quest in some other games.
Run here, kill 5 wolves, come back and talk to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And here's the existential crisis. This could potentially represent a microcosm of RuneScape in general right now, RuneScape 3, where the management and higher-ups need to balance the choice between appeasing current players who may want more endgame content and what new players might need to make content more unique and innovative. And when you look at the two types of updates that would be required to do this, they might be so different, and you might not be able to accomplish both goals at the same time. And with that, it brings it back to the very key point that updating Slayer would provide an opportunity to provide this kind of update that both new and old players could get use out of.
See, sorry.
And that's the head scratcher, is that how many other pieces of content are there like this in-game, and how many of those pieces of content are preventing new players from jumping on RS? That's where I get concerned.
You think that just because it exists, it would detour players? I mean,
well, I think there's definitely content in game that would turn people off of the game.
Maybe, but like it's a. I mean, no one's making you do it. It's not like there's
no. But the early levels of Hunter, for example, are atrocious. The early levels of crafting are atrocious.
Early anything is atrocious.
No, there's skills, and you know, I feel competent enough to I'm definitely competent here today. I feel confident enough to talk about this because I took my alt through 1 to level 50 on everything over the last 6 months or so, and there's definitely skills out there that are very rough around the edges on that 1 to 50 mark, and then there's ones that are perfect and very nice around that 1 to 50 mark, and some of the ones that are perfect are ones like divination, as an example.
I mean, the big question with all this, though, is how many new players are there?
We don't know. We don't know. We don't
going to say that.
We don't know. We don't have the numbers.
That, man. Yep.
Exactly. That's what the Jagex, the big people at Jagex, that's probably what they're going to look at.
And that's the question.
And we don't know. Are they trying to get more players, or are they trying to make more money off the existing players?
Exactly.
Again, I don't know what the answer to that question is. I mean, they're pretty heavy on the marketing at the moment. I mean, I've seen, I think on YouTube at the moment they have adverts for the new Google Pixel phone, right? And in one of the last frames of the Google Pixel advert, they're playing RuneScape on the phone. Which I don't know whether that's a UK advert or what, but, and in the last frame on that, you can see it playing RuneScape on their phone with a full inventory of sharks killing some boss, which is ridiculous anyway, but regardless, that's what it is. So they are obviously trying to appeal to presumably new players, or they may even be trying to bring old players back. I don't know what they're trying to do, and I think if we don't know that, it's quite difficult to answer all these other questions, because what's the point in expanding all the, level 1 to 50 content if nobody's doing it?
And then that also, that's what they wanted to do with mobile. Remember, that's why Mod Warden held mobile back, is that he wanted an entirely new first-time user experience with it.
Yeah, but I also think that was part of the problem. They had, it's like when a company banks on a whole bunch of new profits, this and this. We're going to sell this many units this year, and, so on and so forth. I don't think there are that many new players. I've always kind of questioned that.
Yeah, I'd like to see them, and I'd like to believe they're there, but I don't really see the evidence toward it. What I do see is lots of alts and new accounts for people who are already playing. So,
and I kind of asking content for that is pretty pointless, because I mean, let's be real, in RS3 nowadays you can get level 1 to 70 in most skills within hours, probably. It's not it's not a long time. So I mean, obviously I'm coming at this from the perspective of someone that's played for a long time, has got a pretty decent account, and so I'm coming from the perspective of I don't need entry-level content. For me, if it's not top tier, there's no point in me doing it because I'm already past all that.
Right.
And seeing the figures of, what rank everybody is that has max cape now, and there are hundreds and thousands of people now at max cape. It's not like this rare thing anymore. So it's almost like, is the new average player max cape? I don't know, but I would be really interested for them to release, even if it's just something along the lines of, out of active players that are playing, a minimum of, I don't know, 10 hours a month or whatever, what is their total level?
This many are maxed, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah. It'd just be interesting to see, and then you probably get a better idea of why they release what they release.
Right, and we're also in the situation now where if you release a mid-level or low-level, entry-level piece of content, everybody else has to wait 2 months for an update.
Yeah, because you're never going to play it.
So there's that too. Tanis, have they painted themselves into a corner with this month-to-month release cycle if they want to do something that is inherently low to mid-level?
Well, it's never bothered him before.
Right.
uh, I mean, I'm not a fan of the lower level content just because, like Dami, you know, I'm past all that. And we've seen what happened if you put too many eggs in that basket and the people don't materialize. And people don't materialize. That's just a fact. It's not that we have new players. It's that the people that love this game really love this game.
Yeah.
Like it's like it's the wrestling fan effect. Like, you know how like wrestling used to be huge in the 80s and stuff, and they made a lot of money. Now there's a pretty small group, but they make more money because they're making more money per person. And there's more accounts.
You know what we
per
need
person.
to check out? We need to see what the 2021 corporate numbers look like. They've been releasing these later and later into the year on this, and then if we can see how much money came in from RS3 and whatnot, then that would fill us in on all that kind of stuff. Does
it get broken down more than RS3, like into microtransactions?
Yeah,
versus
it does. It does.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
It does. Yeah.
And you gotta think of this too. A lot of people start playing RuneScape when they're kids. I mean, I was older, but a lot of people are, teenagers and kids.
I was probably
and shit when they started playing
12.
this game.
Yeah.
Well, now they're older. They still play the game, and they have money. They have a little bit of disposable income that they can throw $5 here, $10,
but I've never felt
whatever.
compelled to. Like, that's the boat I'm in, and I've never felt compelled to spend on RS.
See, I spend on games I like just because I don't know, I feel like that's the only damn voice I have left anymore.
Right.
So,
it's a good catch-up mechanic, isn't it? For the people that don't have all the time to play, but they still want to do the new content, it's like, I can spend, I don't know, $20, $40, whatever it is, and I can get the gear to go and do the new boss, right? And in that respect,
do people do that? Do people buy bonds to?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Because the problem is, between getting your skills up and buying gear, and especially nowadays, gear's so expensive.
Yeah.
Especially if you're like a mid-level player where you haven't got the gear to make money.
Right.
You're kind of in this awkward like middle ground. Like pretty much as soon as you can do your kind of, I guess, God Wars Dungeon 2 bosses, if you can get to a stage where you can comfortably do that, you can make money, right? But getting to that point, that's the difficult part for a lot of people is making that first, I don't know, 100 mil, 50 mil, whatever it is, to be able to then start doing that content to make more money. And I think, for people to buy a few bonds to start doing that, if you haven't got the time to, whatever else it is that you would do to get there, it's just a quick way for people to get onto that content.
Interesting. Well, I think I'm good to leave it there. And this, it's just started as the idea is I don't like Slayer. What does it mean? And as you can tell, it spurred into a whole other round of discussion on this for at least how I feel about RS and the Slayer skill in itself. I feel like I'm playing a completely different game when I look at something like archaeology or invention or even farming. Yeah. So, but in any case, we're going to move on to picks of the week. We're going to start with yours, Dami. What do you got for us?
So I when I was younger, sort of a teenager, I used to play a lot of guitar. I stopped just due to lack of time and effort, if I'm completely honest. Really to pick it up again, and the problem with learning guitar for me was that it was a lot of effort in that you want to learn a song, you got to look up tabs, you got to play it bit by bit, you got to blah 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 blah, and it takes forever to learn a song. So I recently got Rocksmith for PC, which I remember seeing back when I was a teenager, but never really thought anything of it. But what it basically is it's effectively, think of it as like Guitar Hero, but for real guitar. So it will take songs and all the notes in it, and it visualizes it in this Guitar Hero-esque way. So you can more or less play along to a song live without ever having played it before. Obviously you'd have to judge the difficulty of the song, but you can do that, and it's just a much more accessible way to learn than having to go through all the effort of, finding the right tab or whatever, being able to read it properly, being able to convert that into playing it. It's a great big song and dance that's just made easy and fun.
Song and dance, I get it.
There you go, you see. So yeah, no, I'd recommend to anybody that's thinking about it. I mean, there are people that learn from scratch using Rocksmith. Haven't even picked up a guitar before. Yeah, genuinely. So yeah, I mean, I'd recommend it. It was fairly cheap. I mean, I think between the cable that you need and the game, I think it cost me less than the equivalent of $40 or whatever it is. It wasn't expensive at all. So I would recommend. You can look up videos on YouTube to see what it is.
Cable's $45 Canadian. Available on Amazon, and it looks like you need to pay for each song too, as well as you expect.
So basically, there's a workaround where you buy one DLC song, and then that basically allows you to import custom tracks.
Oh, okay.
Which is I don't know whether it's within their terms and conditions, but it's not enforced if it isn't. So, and people do that. So people make custom. There's a million songs that you can get, so if you can think of a song, it's probably on there.
Interesting. And with the electric guitar and everything, it just handles all the amplification and all the audio processing for it too.
Yeah, you can use pretty much any electric guitar. I think it works better if it has humbuckers in it, but it doesn't require them, so you can use any electric guitar.
Interesting. Tanis, you gonna do this?
Yeah. I've got I forget what it is. It's an older Ibanez. And I wouldn't mind getting it out, giving it a try.
Dusting it off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. I've never played guitar. I don't know how. I'm not much into music, but I can totally see this being something. As we head into the tail half of the year, if anybody knows anybody who is into this kind of thing. It'd be a perfect thing to get them, I think. I've never heard of this. Yeah.
One thing I should mention as well. So Rocksmith came out, or the remaster version came out in 2014.
Sure.
They actually have a new one coming out, which I think is due out this year actually. Which is it's a subscription model. So you basically subscribe, and then any song they release, you get, and it's a whole load of updated features, whatever. So. That's something to look out for as well. I'm not sure when that's releasing. I don't think it has a solid date yet. But if you're not sure about buying something, then they do potentially have a subscription model type thing coming out. So
that is so neat. That just seems like the next evolution of all the Guitar Hero kind of things that are out there.
Yeah.
All right, Tanis, what's your pick of the week?
My pick of the week has to be the new Disney Plus show Kenobi. It happened. We saw what we thought was the rematch of the century. We didn't realize was there was actually a more than. It is a great Star Wars show. Was purposely, didn't see any spoilers ahead of time. I know there was a lot of leaks before the show came out, but I'm loving it. It's, it's up there with Mandalorian. It's what the new Star Treks are doing. This is doing the same thing for the Star Wars franchise. Kenobi, it's only 3 episodes in. But it is a really good show, and it's people you will definitely recognize. I mean, it's a continuation, well, not a continuation, but it tells more of the story with the original kind of people that we haven't seen for a while.
Okay,
it's like an origin story type thing.
Well, it kind of fills in this gap that there wasn't any, this gap between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope.
Okay, got you.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good. As you guys, as the listeners know, I'm not a Star Wars fan, so I will take your word for that, Tannis.
All right. Yeah, no, it's good. It's good, man.
And who would have thought that all these years later, when we first covered Disney Plus on Tech News, when it first came out, that it would serve such a role going forward for all these TV shows that you're watching.
Yeah, right. I mean, between the Star Wars and the Marvel, I mean, Disney has it going on.
The mouse has it all. The mouse has it all.
That's why I hope they end up being the owners of EA.
Oh, that'd be interesting, right? We did talk about that EA is going for sale, and Apple is one of the potential suitors for that. So
yeah, but there's so much intellectual property that they could make badass games with that they basically are licensing anyway.
I see why you want that now. That makes sense. Okay. All right. Well, we do have some achievements this week as well. Starting off on June the 1st, we have Errol with 99 Magic, Battle/X with 99 Construction, Iron VSS with 99 Archaeology, Remy Shane with 99 Divination. Then on 30th, we have Dennis with 200 million Summoning, Isk with 120 Construction, Vapor 13579 with 99 Hunter, Donna with 99 Ranged on the 29th of May. Then Lord Earth got 99 Archaeology on the 29th as well. Congrats to him. Lord Deluxe with 99 Defense, and Todio22 got 99 Thieving.
And then 28th of May, we've got Lord Deluxe with 99 Ranged, Lord Deluxe with 99 Constitution, Lord Deluxe with 99 Attack, Lord Deluxe with 99 Strength. And then still on the 28th, we have Ubi Danubi with 99 Woodcutting, Ubi Danubi with 99 Cooking, Ubi Danubi with 99 Mining, Ubi Danubi with 99 Agility, Ubi Danubi with 99 Fishing. And then on the 27th of May, we have Juju Macken with 99 Slayer, Mosen Natha with 99 Agility, Ubi Danubi again with 99 Smithing, and Robosaur Rex with Constitution XP.
Nice.
All right, and then moving on to the 26th, we have Dat Engineer with 200 mil Fishing. We have Mytherios with 99 Thieving and Hunter, and 99 Hunter and 99 Herblore, 99 Fishing, and 99 Woodcutting. All right, nice. And then we have Snow Light with 120 Slayer. We have X Nagal, Nagal with 120 Farming, and that was an awesome double XP live, right?
It was.
Yeah.
I guess it was. I didn't do too much. I guess we'll ask what you guys did. Let's start with you, Domi. What was your double XP like? What have you been up to on RS?
Yeah, so I had a really good one, actually. I did, what did I do? I got 120 Hunter. I got 120 Woodcutting.
Oh my.
And
nice.
Hopefully this weekend I should hit 120 Firemaking. So ticking off some skills.
Anything else that you're up to on RS? Any fun stories to share?
Outside of skilling, been doing some clue scrolls.
So
had some good luck there, which was nice. So I think within 50 kills, I managed to get a effigy cape, explosive barrel, and also a third age kite shield. So yeah, that was a lucky 50 clues.
Nice. And that'd be hard tier then, wouldn't it?
Yes, sorry, that was hard clues. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I should I always wish I did more clues, but I don't know. I just never really get around to it. So.
Clues
Yeah,
are
but
great
when
if
you
you've got
do,
the
you get like a dies and just.
I never got a
stupid
die.
stuff.
I think I got one die in however many years they've been out. And it was
I'm
the
pretty
cheap one. It
sure
was
you've
only worth
gotten
like
some
300
good
mil.
stuff. Oh, well, you know. 2-2.
Only. Yeah. This guy.
What about you, Tatis? What about you? What have you been up to?
So I did some farming. That's we're almost there. And I think with the bonus I have left, we will finally hit that 120 here pretty soon.
Nice.
And then, still smithing, but, the double XP was great because, not only am I making money, but I'm doing, it's not the best XP, obviously, but
It's not token XP.
range.
Like people say it's not the best smithing XP, but it's nothing to sneeze at.
Right. When you double it, it's kind of like decent. So, I did, pretty a lot of smithing, probably about 17 mil worth.
Holy cow.
I'm happy with that.
Well, that's good. That's good. And I'd imagine lots of money from that too.
Yeah, eventually.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, you probably never heard me ask about like the price of a PVM thing because it might be an investment.
Well, there you go. But speaking of that, my double XP was relatively calm and quiet. I didn't do too much on the main for it. I'll talk about what I did there after, but double XP stuff that I actually did. On the alt, I got 88 divination because I wanted that for the porter at that level. I also just did some random wood cutting, trying to push that as close to 60 as I could, and that was pretty much it for double XP. I didn't really feel a great push to get much done this time, I feel. And I feel like we all have those double XPs. There's double XPs where we do a lot, and there's double XPs where we really don't do that much.
Yeah.
So, and I guess that's a benefit of knowing when it's always going to be around and such. But there's that. But in other more interesting news, I had been keeping up with my Dream of Iaia stuff, working towards the lore segments on that, and I got the Necklace of Salamancy, so I can run around as a little yellow lizard now if I want to.
Nice, you are a lizard person.
That's what I was getting at earlier when you said maybe we got some lizard people among us, or whatever that was.
If I'd have known I could be a lizard, that would have changed everything. I just didn't know. I didn't know.
Yeah. But aside from that, I also hit the magic number. I had enough money banked that I was actually able to purchase and afford one of my long-term goals of the Saren Godbow, investing in my ranged combat style heavily.
Yeah.
So that is so fun to take out and just see that special attack fire off and all the damage that comes out of that. So really, really enjoying that. And it's one of those things where you're working up to the purchase and you hope it's going to be worth it, and then it is. And quite honestly, it's worth it just for the looks of the bow itself, I feel. So, yeah.
And all that's new ammunition, you don't even need it.
Yeah. I'm as you know, I'm a big fan of the splintering arrows and such. So that's what I use in most places where there's no phase change with that. But I wanted the bow as well because I have a feeling that the new God arrows will be especially useful when Elite Dungeon 4 drops next month. So I wanted to have the bow able to do that with. But there's that, and aside from that, just the usual Reaper task and PVM, and that's literally all there is to it on the main. I wish I could be more interesting with that, but that's what it is, honestly.
Who would have thought?
But well, and I mean, aside from Yak Track up to tier 8, I guess that maybe this weekend I should spend some time actually sinking a bit of time into the regular Yak Track stuff, right?
Yeah.
So,
look at this cosmetic. Yeah.
But That's all I've been up to. I don't think we have anything else to mention for this episode. As I said, we'll be back next week with Earth and Questscaping to talk about Twilight of the Gods. So definitely be there for that. And if you want to get that episode first when it drops, you can subscribe to us on any number of podcast listeners out there. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, Pocket Casts, and more. Just visit update.rsbnb.com/subscribe. That's the best way to get the show. Subscribe. It'll be delivered automatically to you. And of course, YouTube at youtube.com/rsbnb. Like and subscribe. Greatly helps the channel out if you find the content useful. But with that being said, thank you, Domi, for joining us. It was nice having you on the show.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
And Tanis and I will be back next week to discuss Twilight of the Gods. We'll see you then, everyone. Take care.
See ya.
Bye.